All right, let's jump into another deep dive. This time we're heading straight into the global art scene.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
It is. We're going to be talking about Naomi Beckwith,
Okay.
the new artistic director for Documenta 16.
Documenta. Big deal.
Huge. You know, it's that massive art exhibition in Kassel, Germany.
Yeah. Happens every 5 years.
Sets the tone for, like, what's coming next in contemporary art.
Basically.
So we've got a whole bunch of news articles and some background info from Wikipedia.
Nice. German, mostly.
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to use all that to really figure out, like, who is Naomi Beckwith?
Okay.
Why is her appointment so important?
Right.
And what could this mean for Documenta's future? We're your guides for this.
Love it. Let's dive in.
One thing that immediately grabs your attention is Beckwith's background. I mean, it's incredibly impressive.
Oh, yeah.
She's the deputy director and chief curator at the Guggenheim.
In New York.
Yeah.
The Guggenheim. Wow.
You don't just, like, end up in a position like that, you know.
Absolutely not.
And even before the Guggenheim, she had these big roles at the Museum of Contemporary Art, Chicago.
Oh, wow.
And the Studio Museum in Harlem. Clearly, she's got the experience. But what I think is really interesting is her focus
On
how Black culture has really shaped contemporary art.
fascinating. Makes you think about how that perspective will influence Documenta.
For sure.
This is actually her first time leading something as big and as intricate as Documenta.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, I mean, the Guggenheim definitely gave her experience with managing large collections and working with all those international networks.
Makes sense.
But Documenta, it's a whole other level.
Yeah, no kidding. And speaking of Documenta, a lot of these articles are saying that Beckwith's appointment, it's like a return to normalcy.
Return to normalcy, huh?
Yeah, after all the craziness that was Documenta 15.
Yeah, right.
Just to catch everyone up, Documenta 15 had this collective leadership model.
Okay.
Pretty experimental, right?
Yeah.
But then there were these accusations of anti-Semitism connected to some of the artwork.
Oh, right.
And the organizers didn't really respond well, and it just caused this huge crisis.
Ah, I see.
So it seems like they see Beckwith, with her experience and going back to a single artistic director, as a way to kind of calm things down and rebuild some trust.
I can see that. That shift back to one director after they tried the collective model, that's a pretty big change.
Yes, totally.
Suggests they might be moving away from that experimental format.
Yeah.
And maybe going back to a more, like, traditional curated approach.
Interesting. All right, let's dig into Beckwith's curatorial style.
Okay.
From what I'm seeing, she's really into shining a light on lesser-known histories and narratives.
The ones that haven't always been in the spotlight.
Exactly. There are these two artists that she championed early in their careers.
Who are they?
Lynette Yaramboki, known for these amazing portraits of Black figures,
Wow.
and Howardina Pindell,
Okay.
a multidisciplinary artist. And there were great examples of this. It seems like she's really good at recognizing talent and promoting voices that might otherwise get overlooked.
It's even more than that, though. What I find fascinating is how this ties into her whole curatorial philosophy.
Oh.
She describes it as a spiral.
Spiral.
Yeah, like she's always looking back at the past to understand the present and shape the future.
It's not just about showcasing what's new then.
Not just. It's about getting that historical context.
Okay.
Understanding the influences that led us to where we are now.
Spiral. That's such a cool way to describe it. So visual.
Right.
Makes me think of the Guggenheim, actually, you know, with its architecture.
There's totally a connection.
Oh, there is.
Beckwith actually talked about how the Guggenheim spiral shape, it embodies this idea of, like, constant evolution and revisiting the past.
Oh, wow.
She even connects it to Sankofa.
Sankofa.
It's a word from the Twi language of Ghana.
Okay.
Sankofa is all about learning from the past to move forward.
I like that.
And it really clicks with Beckwith's whole thing about highlighting marginalized voices and those untold stories. It's not just curating an exhibition. It's like weaving together history, culture, and social commentary.
This is where things get super interesting.
Yeah.
In an interview, Beckwith said there will be no surprises about the artwork at Documenta 16. Pretty bold statement, don't you see that?
Yeah. Definitely suggests a more controlled, curated experience, especially compared to that open, process-driven approach they had at Documenta 15.
Right. Makes you wonder how she's going to balance her vision with the artist's freedom.
For sure. I mean, she's obviously going for a really cohesive, deliberate experience.
Yeah.
But Documenta is known for showcasing art that's, you know, challenging, unpredictable even.
Right.
So how she handles that tension, it'll be fascinating to see.
Totally.
And, you know, she's also said she wants to explore these themes of crisis, transformations, solutions for a world facing all these challenges.
Which feels very relevant, given the current state of things.
Oh, absolutely. Timely, for sure.
Reading about Beckwith, one thing that really stood out was how open she is about the discrimination she's experienced in the art world.
Oh, yeah.
She talks about feeling isolated and marginalized, being a Black woman in these predominantly white institutions.
It's really important to understand that experience because it's so central to her work. Her own struggles have shaped her commitment to amplifying those voices that have been silenced or ignored. It's not just about picking aesthetically pleasing art. It's about making space for narratives that challenge the status quo.
Yeah, I see that.
Sounds like Beckwith is aiming for a documenta that's intellectually stimulating, but also accessible.
Right.
She's mentioned wanting to create this sense of comfort for the audience.
Comfort.
Yeah, a space where they can engage with complex ideas without feeling alienated.
I wonder if that's even possible, though.
What do you mean?
Well, think about documenta's history. It's always been about pushing boundaries,
Right.
presenting art that can be, like, challenging, unsettling even.
True.
Can you really have comfort alongside art that's meant to provoke and disrupt?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's where things could get really interesting.
How so?
Well, her vision for a more controlled, curated experience.
Yeah.
It might clash with what people expect from documenta.
Like those who see it as a platform for radical experimentation.
Exactly. Plus, we can't forget about the shadow of Documenta 15.
Oh, yeah.
All that controversy, the accusations of anti-Semitism, the fallout, it's still fresh in everyone's minds.
Oh, sure.
So when Beckwith says no surprises,
Yeah.
people might see that as a direct response to what happened.
Like she's saying, we're not going there again.
Exactly.
Adds another layer of complexity to it all.
It really does. So the big question is, what will Beckwith's documenta actually look like?
What kind of art will she choose? How will she present it?
And maybe most importantly, what impact will it have on the art world and beyond?
Big questions.
She has said she wants to focus on solutions and transformation.
Solutions, okay.
So it sounds like she's interested in art that doesn't just critique the world as it is, but also offers some kind of vision for a better future.
Interesting. Makes you wonder, though, how might that focus on solutions actually affect the art that gets chosen?
What do you mean?
Well, could it create a sort of filter?
A filter.
Yeah, one that excludes work that's more, I don't know, ambiguous or even pessimistic.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So it could potentially limit the range of perspective.
Yeah.
And create a sort of echo chamber where only certain viewpoints are represented.
Right.
Wouldn't that contradict Documenta's whole goal of showcasing diverse artistic voices from around the world?
That's the challenge, isn't it?
It is.
This balancing act between the curator's vision
Yeah.
and the artist's expression, and I think that's going to be one of the defining things about Documenta 16.
You know, going through all these articles, I keep coming back to this idea of trust.
Trust, huh?
After all the mess of Documenta 15, it feels like the art world is really looking for someone to, I don't know, restore some stability.
Bring back some credibility.
Yeah, exactly. Can Beckwith be that person?
That's the million-dollar question. No easy answers there.
Definitely not. Stakes are high.
Pressure is on.
This whole situation has got me thinking about how much the role of a curator has changed.
In what way?
It's not just about choosing art anymore.
Yeah.
It's about shaping narratives,
Okay.
sparking conversations,
Right.
even taking on a kind of activist role.
I see that.
And Beckwith, with her background and how outspoken she is about diversity and representation,
Yeah.
she seems like a good fit for that expanded role.
Whether she can actually make her vision a reality, though,
Yeah.
while dealing with all the complexities of Documenta's past and present, well, we'll have to wait and see.
There was this one incident during Beckwith's time at the Museum of Contemporary Art, Chicago.
Tell me about it.
I thought it was pretty revealing. There was this white male artist having an exhibition.
Okay.
It was called Blank Drawings.
Blank drawings.
Yeah, it was a bunch of abstract charcoal sketches.
Interesting.
It caused a lot of controversy. Some people thought it was racially insensitive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it sparked all these discussions about race, representation, the power dynamics in the art world.
And Beckwith was right in the thick of it.
She was.
Yeah.
Trying to navigate all these complex emotions, the different viewpoints.
That must have been incredibly tough.
On one hand, you have the artist's intentions,
Right.
which might have been racially charged or maybe not.
Right.
And then on the other hand, you have the audience's interpretation.
Which is shaped by their own experiences and perspectives.
Exactly. How do you even begin to reconcile those things?
It takes a lot of nuance, that's for sure.
Yeah,
And a willingness to have those difficult conversations.
definitely.
Art, especially contemporary art, it's often meant to provoke, to challenge, but that provocation should be grounded in responsibility.
Responsibility.
Yeah, an awareness of the potential impact it might have.
So it's not about shock value just for the sake of
Yeah,
it.
no. It's about creating a space for meaningful dialogue, even when it's uncomfortable.
And I think Beckwith really gets that.
Yeah.
She's not afraid to tackle tough themes in her own work.
What kind of tough themes?
Well, there's this one painting she created that was inspired by the practice of wife burning in India.
Oh, wow.
She used her own body as a template on the canvas.
Powerful imagery.
It is. It's a very powerful, disturbing image
Yeah.
that speaks to the violence and injustice women face all over the world.
It sounds like her art doesn't shy away from the darkness, but it also doesn't exploit it.
I think that's a good way to put it.
Using art as a tool
Yeah.
to raise awareness, to make people think, to challenge the status quo.
I think that's at the core of her curatorial philosophy, too.
Oh, how so?
It's not just about presenting art for art's sake.
It's about something more.
It's about using art to spark social change.
Interesting.
You know, when we started this deep dive,
Yeah,
I was thinking about Beckwith's appointment in terms of her resume, her credentials.
makes sense.
But now I'm realizing it's about so much more than that.
What is it about then?
It's a shift in perspective,
Okay,
a new way of thinking about art and its role in society.
I like that.
And I'm honestly really curious to see what she does with Documenta 16. I have a feeling it's going to be something special.
I agree. It feels like a pivotal moment.
Pivotal.
Yeah, not just for Documenta, but for the art world as a whole.
What's sticking with you the most from all this?
I think it's this idea of Beckwith as a bridge builder.
Bridge builder.
Yeah, someone who can connect different worlds, different perspectives, different generations through art.
I love that. Bridge builder.
Yeah.
It perfectly captures what she's trying to do.
It does.
She's bringing together her own experiences as a Black woman,
Yeah.
her expertise as a curator, and her passion for social justice.
To create something truly unique.
Exactly. It's ambitious, that's for sure.
It is. There will be challenges, criticisms, probably even more controversy.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's a risk worth taking.
Absolutely. This is about more than just one exhibition.
What is it about then?
It's about changing the conversation, expanding what art can be, who gets to be a part of that conversation.
It's about creating a future where art isn't just reflecting society, but actually driving positive change.
And that's definitely something to be excited
Yeah,
about.
for sure.
But let's be real. There's the whole practical side of things.
Like what?
Actually putting together an exhibition as massive and complex as Documenta,
Yeah.
the logistics, the budget, the sheer number of artists and artworks, it's mind-boggling.
It is. And she actually has less time than usual to get it all done.
Less time.
Yeah, the original schedule for Documenta 16 got disrupted.
Oh, wow.
So she's working with a much shorter prep period.
Makes you wonder what compromises she might have to make.
Right. Will she still be able to stay true to her vision with all these constraints?
It's a good question. It's a high-stakes game, and the art world is always watching, waiting for someone to slip up. The pressure to make Documenta a success, especially after all the drama last time, it must be immense.
Makes you think, will she have to deviate from her original goals?
Yeah, it's a lot to handle, that's for sure. I can only imagine what it's like behind the scenes, all that scrambling, the weight of everyone's expectations. But I think putting all the drama and speculation aside, Beckwith's appointment is a real chance for Documenta to, reinvent itself.
Oh, totally. This is Documenta's chance to say, hey, we're still relevant, in a world that's constantly changing. To move on from all the controversy and embrace a vision for contemporary art that's more inclusive, more forward-looking.
It feels bigger than just Documenta, though, right?
Uh.
It's like it's tapping into this growing awareness
Yeah.
that we need more diversity, equity, representation.
In all areas of culture, not just art.
Exactly. And one thing that really strikes me about Beckwith is her resilience. She's faced so many obstacles, setbacks throughout her career.
But she never gave up.
Never gave up on her vision. And she's constantly using her position to support voices that are often ignored.
It's pretty inspiring. Shows you that you can work within these complicated systems and institutions, even the ones with, problematic histories.
And still push for change from within.
Exactly.
That's such a powerful message, especially now when everything feels so divided.
Oh, yeah.
Beckwith's story reminds us that progress is still possible, even in the middle of all the chaos.
It's about finding those moments of connection, understanding those little glimmers of hope, to remind us we're not alone in all of this. And that's what art at its best can do. Art helps us see the world in a new way. It helps us empathize with others, imagine a better future.
So well said. And I think that's what Beckwith is trying to achieve with Documenta 16.
It's more than just curating an exhibition.
Way more. She's creating a space for dialogue, for reflection, for transformation.
And she's inviting all of us to be a part of that.
To be a part of it.
Yeah, to grapple with those challenging questions, examine our own assumptions, to picture a world where art isn't just a luxury, but something essential.
As we're wrapping up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I have to admit, I'm feeling really excited. I can't wait to see what Beckwith does with Documenta.
Okay.
It feels like it's going to be something truly special, something that stays with us long after the exhibition is over.
Me too. I'm so curious to see how the art world reacts, how the public engages with these ideas, how the conversation changes and develops.
Documenta has always been like a lightning rod, right?
It has a place where celebration and controversy clash, and I have a feeling this edition will be no different.
Well, one thing's for sure, we'll be watching closely, and we'll definitely be back to break it all down when the time comes. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep pushing for a more vibrant, inclusive art world.
And remember what Naomi Beckwith said. Go back and get what you need to claim. Learn from the past, embrace the present, and imagine a future where art can truly make a difference.